Hi, this is Sin from Sinwise's Battlefield Manual, and I'm here to talk to you today about drain tanking, a warlock technique where you become the tank instead of your pet, your demon. So here, this is my 19 Twink Sinwine and Huckrath, her Voidwalker. I'm probably going to call him Thog because Sinwise's Voidwalker is called Thog, and I just think of it as Thog, right? I mean, don't you think of your demons that way? Anyhow, so we are going to go ahead and we're going to pull a mob, and I'll start showing you how this works. This is going to be a high DPS pull. I'm going to put 3 dots on it to show you how a traditional pull would look for drain tanking, where you put as many dots as possible on, and you go ahead and you pretty much just want to burn it down as quickly as possible. This isn't really drain tanking at this point. That's a high DPS kill. Contrast that with the next pull. The next pull, I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to use 2 dots, my instant cast dots, Corruption and Curse of Agony. Curse of Agony now, Corruption then we get a little bit of distance while Thog, Huckrath, whatever his name is, well, he takes a little bit of the aggro, but I'm not going to count on him to take it all. Instead, I'm going to use Drain Life there to go ahead and keep my health up. Right? You see that I've taken very little damage at this point. It's not really true that I haven't taken any damage. I have taken damage, but I've healed through it. That's the idea behind drain tanking in Warlocks. Warlocks are uniquely suited to take damage and translate it into health, and that we're able to use Drain Life, like I'm doing here, while causing damage, to go ahead and keep myself up and operational. And see here, okay, 2 mobs, fear 1 away, and then just drain them away, right? Drain that life back, get my health bar back up to full, and then I'll convert it again a little bit to mana once I get a little bit more going. So one of the things about drain tanking that is really interesting at early levels is that you don't have a lot of the talents you'll have later on. So you're really relying upon having stamina and as much spell power as you can to go ahead and have those instant dots work for you. And then as you turn around, you go ahead and you can get much more power in your drain life. That's one of the things that we'll see here is that drain life really does help keep you topped up. But there's also times that you want to switch around and say, listen, you do need to have a fast kill. That's why I switched over to Drain Soul there. And again, this is a fairly straightforward technique. You go ahead, you dot it up, you don't send someone else in, you dot, you drain, you get out of the way, the mob dies. Now as you level, you're going to gain new spells and new abilities that are going to greatly help you in drain tanking. The most important of these is Siphon Life. It's an Affliction talent you get around level 30 that transforms your corruption spell from just being a simple damage over time spell, a simple dot, to also being a heal over time spell, a hot. The way that it does this is for every tick of damage that corruption does, every time that it goes ahead and deals damage, it returns 40% of that damage to you as healing, so that you are able to place it and do damage but receive healing at the same time. So you are no longer limited to standing still and having drain life while the mob attacks you. Drain Life is a channeled spell. It requires you to be still. It requires you to not move. Whereas Corruption, once it's placed, it will go ahead and passively heal you over time. I've asked Sinister of Sinister's Notebook, a great leveling weblog on the World of Warcraft, to help me out here. He's got a Warlock that he's leveling on Durotan, level 52, to help me out and show what this looks like while you're leveling. You know, in the process of leveling, it's important to see what this looks like at different points throughout your career, because it does change. And the style of drain tanking that we're seeing here really is a great affliction only style, where you have Siphon Life, and that you have you can see he's got Corruption and Curse of Agony on these ogres as we're going through them and mowing them down. You know, to get Corruption up on as many as possible, because that will then return health to him via Siphon Life. Now, as a Warlock, you have a big, deep bag of trips. See, there was a Nightfall proc, and he let loose a Shadow Bolt, and you see that he's using a lot of different talents here to go ahead and make sure that he's staying mobile. But it's really, and watch his health here. Oh, let me help out here. His health got a little bit low there, but really what we're seeing is that Siphon Life allows you to pull many mobs. And to be very aggressive in your pulls, because you know that it's going to keep you up. Because the more mobs you pull, the more healing you're getting back, and your pet is then functioning more as an extra DPS around you than as your primary tank. Right? You're the tank. And that's what's really great about this playstyle, is that you're able to now really use all of your spells to their fullest, right? You see Sinister's using Drain Life right there. He's doing that to go ahead and help recover some health, and it's an aggressive healing spell, but it's not necessary. It's not the only way that he's getting health back. Siphon Life is providing the majority of his healing, that it all keeps coming back to him, and it's really a wonderful talent to have while you're leveling. It's one of the reasons why Affliction Warlocks are some of the easiest to level. Okay, God or Goddess of Death mode. This is the final part about drain tanking that I've asked Sinwise to go ahead and help me out with. Sinwise and her fell hunter Shaggy, Shagrim, and they are going to pull the entire Death Speaker's camp up in Ice Crown for us to demonstrate how Goddess of Death mode works. The basic idea is that it builds upon Siphon Life and Corruption, but it enhances the damage of Corruption and Curse of Agony, your instant cast spells, so that you can cast on the run and continually pull mobs and never stop. I mean, literally, you will never stop while you are in Goddess of Death mode, because you are able to kill any mob that you come across with those two spells, and you are able to keep your health up through Siphon Life, and you're able to keep your mana up through Life Tap. So, on the one hand, you're dealing damage with Corruption and Curse of Agony whenever you need it, and in turn, you're getting healing back, which you then convert back into mana, which you convert into more Corruption spells, and so the more mobs that you pull, the more healing you get back. So you can see, I never have to stop here. I'm just literally running through the mobs and dotting them as I go. You'll see that first Corruption comes up. The reason I want Corruption on first is so that I get the healing starting immediately, and because I'm not worried about aggro. One of the things that Curse of Agony excels at is that it starts off slow. It's really a great curse to use when you're tanking with your pet or with your or in a group, because it starts off slow, builds up, has a nice long duration, and you need to let it run to the end to do all the full damage. It really is good at the very end of it, but it starts off slow. Corruption is not like that. Corruption is even ticks, except for your crits, and it returns the health through Siphon Life. So you want to get that up quickly in Goddess of Death mode, because the more you have, the more you're able to pull, right? You want to keep pulling and keep pulling and keep pulling. So we're already halfway through the camp. So the other thing you notice here is that when you get up to Northrend, you really start being able to dabble with your talents in other trees, and you really should. Because once you get to your 51 point, you don't need to spend more than 50 to 54 points in any tree while you're leveling. So once you've got that, I really do recommend Demonology as your second tree, unless you are already thinking about raiding using the Dungeon Finder. The reason you want to do that is that Demonology gives you Soul Link and Fell Synergy. Soul Link is the talent that goes ahead and shunts damage away from you. 20% of your damage is going to be done to your pet, and then Fell Synergy will do a lesser percentage, but it will take some of the damage that you are doing to other people and use that to heal your demon as well. So that's why you see all of the numbers flying by here, all the green numbers. The green numbers on one side are the heals coming into me from Siphon Life. The green numbers on the other side are those going out to my pet from all of the damage that I'm doing. Now you also see that I'm damaging my pet through Soul Link, but that's part of the job. I mean, sorry, you're a demon. I'm a warlock. I'm gonna do bad things to you, and you're gonna like it. And if you die, I'll just resummon you, because that's the way it works. Sorry, it's a really bad gig, but you're a demon. So in the meantime, here we are, and we have a very long trail of dead. We have actually already pulled the camp, and we are now going back and getting some of the few that we missed. And again, all that we need to do here is do Siphon Life, Corruption, Curse of Agony, and Life Tap. You see that occasionally I'll toss out things like I've done some Nightfall hasted Shadow Bolts. Those are always fun to do. You can also do a Death Coil if you want. Death Coil is always a good fun spell to do, but it's great for a nice heal. And other than that, Howl of Terror if you ever really need it for an escape. But otherwise, that is what Goddess of Death mode looks like. Happy warlocking. This has been Sin of Sinwise's Battlefield Manual, and Sinwise as well. Thank you very much. Hope this helps, and happy tanking.